So it's been raining off and on all day yesterday and today, but I turned the water on today, the well, and it wasn't dirty. For those that don't know, if it gets too much rain, the well, it's an old well, and the water seeps way down. The groundwater can get into the well water and makes it dirty. I flush it out. Don't want to spend a lot of time on it. I've explained it a million times. I'd rather have the old dirty water and have to flush it out after a rain than have no water at all. So I really like what I got. If I were to do a new one, they wouldn't let me hook it up the way I got it, so I can run it off a generator. So this is a perfect solution to the problem. I've done a lot of work to the well, that little well house there, and so it's really made a huge improvement. So only on the really heavy rains does it get dirty. Well, almost every rain we've had so far this spring has been pretty heavy or very long, but today it's just been kind of sprinkling off and on. We just got a pretty good hailstorm. Wasn't very big, but boy, sure did make a noise on the roof. A lot of people said I wouldn't like that metal roof. It would be too noisy during thunderstorms. Well, it's so insulated, we hardly can hear the rain, but today I really knew it was hail. It wasn't deafening or anything. I could still listen to videos while it was hailing. Things are really sprouting out. All the trees are turning green. I've been doing a lot of videos about food here lately. And we just got a new tool on YouTube that tells us what people are searching for, my viewers are searching for. And one of the top search results is food shortages 2022. But there's others like tiny house and off-grid living, of course camping and fishing. Food videos have done really well in the last several days or weeks. I keep trying to come up with ideas on our food preservation because the last, I don't know, year and a half, that has been our primary focus, is food preservation, growing our own food, raising our own food. Now, as you know, Carolyn and I went to pretty much just a complete carnivorous diet. And we've been a lot healthier. All my aches and pains have went away. Last year was splitting all this firewood with a maul. Those who were with me last year will remember that. So we split all this with either a manual log splitter or a maul. Well, my shoulder got so bad I couldn't even sleep on it anymore. I still use the maul quite a bit, but what I've noticed is my shoulder hasn't been hurting. One of the things that happens when you go into a carnivorous diet is your inflammation slows down. It reduces the inflammation. So even my breathing, I told you a while back, I've been having a lot of breathing issues. And I'm pretty confident that I get an inflammation in the tube that goes down to my lungs. Well, it's gotten a lot better over the last couple of months since we've been pretty much eating meat. I think the biggest problem I was having is I was eating peanut butter on bread every day, 2 or 3 times a day for lunch. Well, now I just eat eggs. My muscle growth is more, everything's just better. So I've been pretty excited about this carnivorous diet. We're eating less food as a result. I've been trying to push a carnivorous diet. Well, of course, we have chickens and eggs. The eggs are a big deal to us. So I've been talking a lot about eggs and chicken, raising your own chickens. I think you could actually live off eggs. Eggs are considered a superfruit now. So other than vitamin C, that's all you pretty much would need is eat eggs. So if things got really bad, food shortage 2022, which is one of the highest searches done by my audience, the way to prevent a food shortage is to grow your own eggs. Well, what else could you do if things were to go bad? So we were kind of thinking, you know, dogs and all that. Of course, this is just, I know everybody's going to be all upset. Oh, don't eat dogs. I'm not going to suggest you eat dogs. I'm not. But one of the things I want to point out is if you're thinking, okay, I could do this, you know, dogs or whatever, is every meat has a different flavor. The only thing that I can really say is chicken and rabbit taste the same. They taste like chicken, both of them, or chicken tastes like rabbit, however you want to look at it. But everything else has its own flavor. So I get a lot of people tell me, oh, you should raise goats for meat. Well, goats, although are pretty close to a steak flavor, are not like a steak. Deer, that's the one that surprised me. The first time I ever ate deer and I knew what I was eating, I realized, wow, this is a whole different flavor. So it would be easy for somebody to say, I don't like deer. Carolyn has to get adjusted to the taste. I've noticed with her, she can eat deer, but she doesn't like the first few meals when she eats deer. you got to be prepared for that. One of the things I mention on this channel a lot is squirrel. Squirrel is easy to catch if you have some. Now, don't eat city squirrel. City squirrel gets in the trash and eating all kinds of garbage. So you don't want city squirrel, but if you can get ones that have been eating nuts out here in the rural area, squirrel is really good eating. The problem with our area is it's such a poor area that there aren't many squirrels available. So you get about 2 squirrel around here. I see them all the time, but that's about it, about 2 squirrel. Because everybody's trapping them and eating them. Same with rabbit. Now you could raise rabbit. I'm not a big fan of raising rabbits. It's a lot of work, more so than chickens. And so when you do the pros and cons of rabbit, a lot of people will say, okay, the rabbits in general are better, easier and all that. They produce quickly, but in the end, it's just a lot to take care of. With rabbit, you have to put them, 2 per cage or 3 per cage. And so you got 10 or 15 cages that you have to go in and feed every night and water every night. With chickens, I can put them all together in one little chicken coop. They put themselves to bed at night, they come out. All I gotta do is fill the feeder, and they all share the feeder. They produce the eggs, they leave them there. I pick them up every night. I don't have to do a lot of butchering, unless I want meat, of course. So to me, chickens are just easier. I've done both. I like chickens. Not to say I wouldn't raise rabbits. I could if I had to, but I got chickens, so I'm quite satisfied with it. But if you live in a city, rabbits may be the way to go. They don't stink. You can use their fertilizer right away. Whereas with chicken manure, you gotta put it on the ground or on the garden in the fall and let it do its thing throughout the winter. Otherwise it can burn the garden, but with rabbits, its manure can be used right away. So there's a lot of advantages to rabbits, and if you live in the city, I would suggest, if you're not gonna be able to raise chickens in all the ways that I've described in previous videos, then check out some rabbits. Now, you can pick up rabbits pretty easy. New Zealand's, I think is what they're called, is the best ones to get. I think they're New Zealand's, and they're huge and they're white. But the farm that we bought our chickens from also sells rabbits. So a lot of times these farmers who do all that selling do both. Now, earlier I said about dogs, because I hear a lot of people say, well, there's plenty of dogs in the neighborhood, I could eat one of those. Well, it's my understanding that dog meat isn't very good. It's a lot of fat. If you think about it, dogs have had all their injections, so they're kind of poisoned. And then when they feed them junk, the dog food is just junk. So they're not very healthy to eat. I mean, if you got a wolf or a wild fox or something like that, sure, but to eat your dog, I think, or the neighbor's dog, I think is a really bad idea. I think it'd make you sick, or could make you sick. Believe it or not, as much money as we spend on pets, to actually eat that meat would make you sick. Now, some I had considered in the past, and again, it's gonna be like dogs. People are gonna say, oh, you can't eat dogs. People are gonna say you can't eat this either. Horses. But before you jump down my throat, horses are actually a delicacy almost throughout the entire world, except the United States. The United States is the one place that said, oh no, horses, because they're a pet. Well, horses kind of fit in the same category as dogs, if not worse. With horses, if you buy a horse from a farm, it's likely been injected with a lot of poisonous medications. They'll pump these horses up full of steroids to give them more muscle so they can run faster and jump higher. But you have to remember, over in the West, all the BLM land, Bureau of Land Management, I gotta be careful nowadays on what I say. There's all kinds of wild horses. I think there's something, they've counted 50,000 wild horses. And the government has actually tried to figure out if they could get US citizens to eat horse meat. US citizens won't eat it. I looked at an article earlier. Apparently horse meat is actually pretty good for you, even more so than beef. But NBC did this thing and tried to persuade the population that horse meat, if people would have came to this country, whenever they came to this country, and they'd have decided to start eating horses versus cows, that they would have been less healthy than they are today. But then you look at European studies, horse meat is more healthy than cows. I think there's a bias in all the studies, but in the end, are they doing studies on deer? Are they doing studies on squirrel meat and rabbit meat and all that, chicken meat? Or are they just looking at, oh, well, we don't want to butcher horses, so it must be unhealthy? I was talking about other farm animals. I was talking about goats. Sheep, we raised some sheep. Well, actually we bought some sheep and butchered them. Anyway, big long story. But when we actually butchered them, nobody in the house would actually eat it. Except me, I ate it. But the fat in it, lanolin or something they call it, I don't remember. It really does taste weird. You eat it and think, oh yuck, that's gonna make me sick. You probably won't eat it, and that's what happened to my family. They just wouldn't eat it. So we had all this lamb meat that we bought that nobody would eat. You can flavor it up, put some barbecue sauce on it, and I think they call it mutton. But here's the thing: is a lot of people say, "Oh yeah, I could eat that. That's a really good, tasty meal." But then when they actually eat it, they're like, "Wow, I didn't expect that. That's not what I was expecting." So I just wanted to throw it out there that, you know, all these people saying you can eat dog. I don't think I would eat dog, and I pretty much will try or eat anything. I've never thrown down a piece of meat. I've never said I won't eat a piece of meat. But dog, I just don't think I would do. It's just not healthy. It's just kind of disgusting. All the things that we feed the dog, of course the dog absolutely loves it. We think we're spoiling the dog to death. I keep watching more videos, and these preppers and, well, even left critters, and they're all talking about the same thing. You know, all the things they're going to do to survive. And I'm not asking anybody to survive. I'm asking people to thrive. I think Carolyn and I, if the shelves were empty tomorrow, would do really well. We probably wouldn't even notice for the longest time that the shelves were empty. We got plenty of eggs, chicken food we can grow. I don't think it would affect us. And that would give us time to move on to the next step. What are we going to do? Horses, or, you know, whatever the case is. So if you can click this up next box, I'd really appreciate it. Take you over to my next video. So I hope I can inspire you to think outside the box so you can live your dream. Thanks for watching.